Welcome to episode number 3. Thanks for joining. Today we sit down with Darek Cobbs, one of today's top pop arrangers and musicians. He's currently on tour with Charlie Puth in Asia. Darek has played for Meghain Trainor, Miguel, Camila Cabello, Neil, Bebe Rexha, just to name a few. We get to sit down and talk a little bit about value, what it means to be a musician in today's world, what advice he has for you guys, for those musicians that are trying to do the same and work at a professional level. We talk about his most embarrassing moments in his career, his highlights as well, and pretty much anything and everything that has to do with music. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Episode 3, here you go. What's up, guys? Welcome to Sir Kevin Says. This is episode 3. I have today with me Darek Cobbs, music director, arranger, producer. Darek, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Doing well, man. Thank you for being here. I know, busy day for you. You just got done doing the American Music Awards, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was incredible, man. We had Adam Blackstone with me, and we used a 30-piece orchestra.
Oh, my gosh.
For her new single.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it,
man.
and just separating some time to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So, Darek, tell us a little bit about your story. Like, how did you get started with music? You know, like where you were born. How'd you get to L.A.?
We started from the top. Okay. Basically, from Kalamazoo, Michigan. 90s kid. Grew up in church. Both of my parents sing, and my dad is a choir director. And just music all in my blood, man. My uncles and my cousins, everybody plays or sings. And I didn't really have a choice, man. I just loved it, and they saw that I had a passion for it and just helped me cultivate it just growing up. And I've always wanted to be in LA, and I always wanted to tour and just do it at the highest level. And just kept practicing and went to school, and then, just made connections. And I saved up some money and came out here and just doing it, made a niche for myself.
Nice. And this was just because I know you played drums, right? I forget, was that your first instrument, or was keys
Drums was first.
First, and then you moved on to
first.
keys?
And I moved on to keys, and then basically throughout like grade school and college, I kind of balanced both. But everything kind of gravitated towards keys because I had so many friends that were good drummers as well. And it's like, we all want to play on the same gig. So it's like somebody has to play something else. Yeah. So it's like, the key spot has always been open for me, and it opened a lot of doors.
Nice. And what year did you move to LA?
2012? Yeah, that sounds about right. Either 2011, 2012. I remember, I'll never forget it. I just packed up my stuff. I had some family friends in Anaheim. Shout out to the Brown family, Dylan, Tonya, Tony. Love y'all for life. They were gracious enough to let me stay in their home for a couple months. And the NAMM show was coming up. So one of my friends hooked me up with a pass, a rolling pass. And I went to NAMM for the first time. I had a bunch of CDs burned with all the live arrangements me and my friends had done. We're just handing them out. Like, I felt like an underground rapper or something. Like, it's like, yo, check out my mixtape. But it's just arrangements of songs you hear on the radio. Mm-hmm. Like, I hope you like it. Yeah. And I came out here, I packed 2 bags, and I never looked back. I was just like, I'm not going back home until I make it. Wow. And it's been a blessing ever since.
Man, that's incredible. 2012. That was that was your first NAMM show then?
Yeah.
First NAMM show here.
Had
you heard about it when you were back home?
Oh, yeah, just on YouTube and stuff, and seeing different, like, because, even though I play keys, I love drums so much, and just seeing different drummers shedding and then different booths and stuff. And I know it's a little bit different now because they have, like, noise ordinances and stuff.
Yeah. The sound police.
The sound police. Like, you can really get kicked out now. It's hilarious to me. But, yeah, I would just watch all those videos and just different people and, like, some of my favorite bassists and stuff. And everybody would just jam out. And it's like, wow, like, you see all these new products. It's like, I have to go. This is the place to be.
Yeah.
And it was cool to. It's actually pretty overwhelming, cause like you see your heroes there, and they're just walking around, and all the companies of stuff you have or you wish you could have. Exactly. And it's like, man, it's an incredible experience.
For those that don't know, we were talking a little bit about it right now, but the Sound Police are these, what would you call them, like uniformed?
Rent-a-cops. That's what they are. Rent-a-cops with a little decibel meter walking around. If you're jamming too loud, you get a warning. If they come back around, they can literally shut down your booth and kick you out. So I never knew it would get to this point, but it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's
That's funny, man. No, well, there you go. I mean, Sound Police, they exist, people.
Shout out to the Sound Police.
So getting to LA, okay, what was your first big gig, and how was that experience like for you?
First big gig was Miguel. My friend John Witt hit me one day. I had just dropped out of school, moved back home, stayed with some friends, just to plan everything out. You know, I was kind of running low on money, and I knew that the arrangements had already come out, and we were gaining notoriety just from college. And I was just like, you know, we really need to capitalize on this. And I'm talking to my friends, like, I think I'm about to move to LA. And the original plan was myself and the guys that were in the videos to come with me. And then somehow I was the only one here. DJ, he made it out here now. But, like, before that, I really stepped out on faith. But John hit me, and there was a spot open on the Miguel gig, and it was in Chicago. And I was just like, you know, like, I'll drive down. It's 2 hours from my hometown. He sent me the show that night. I had seen him before, and I just learned it playing synth bass, and I did the show, and we had a good time. And he's like, Miguel just let me keep running and keep rolling with him.
Wow. So they kept you after that first show?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We went, man, we played bars, we played clubs, we played arenas, we played colleges, like it was like every weekend there was somewhere to go. And he was already blowing up and had big songs, but it was at that time when you really knew, I'm like, this guy's gonna be around for a while.
Yeah, of course.
And he's killing it.
And was this only in the U.S. mostly, or did you travel outside the U.S. at that time?
At that time, it was only the U.S.
U.S. tours.
Just all the states and stuff. Man. And it wasn't even a bus tour. Like, we were flying everywhere, like every couple days, just going somewhere. And then still getting back. And I'm still have to get back from LAX to Anaheim. So I'm taking a super shuttle. And, like, it was wild, man. It was wild. But I'm so grateful. And just for that to be my first gig with somebody, like, that's really known, and just the energy.
Yeah.
Like, he went 150% every night. Wow. So just to see that, and it's like, wow, if he can do that, like, I need to do that too. Yeah. So,
man, that's incredible. I mean, what about okay? So you saying that you were flying practically every other day? You know, different dates around the US?
Yeah, basically like the weekends.
Yeah. How is that? Like, physically? Do you enjoy flying?
I mean, when I have a window seat, yeah, it's cool. I feel like the newer planes now it's like they're getting smaller and smaller every year.
Less leg room.
Yeah, and it's like, and the prices are going up.
Yep.
So it's like something has to give. But I enjoy it because it's I mean, working in this industry has taken me to places I never thought I would go. Yeah. So it's like it is. I feel like the travel is more demanding than the actual show itself. And you just have to be prepared for it. You have to make sure you rest and you get your vitamins. Sometimes you need a mask because people are coughing and sneezing. Like, there's been certain times where somebody's sitting behind me and just sneezed, and I felt the germs just get on me. And then the next day, I was sick. Like, it's because you're trapped in this plane and they have, like, air circulating, then it's not like it's gonna recycle and clean air come back. It's like them germs go straight on you. So you have to really take care of yourself. And just making sure you get up and stretch, and like, you don't sit too long, you get clots and all that. I've heard so many crazy stories. But I love it, man. For now,
What's the longest flight you've been on, and where was it to?
South Africa. That was about 22 hours.
Straight. No.
No, well, there's a few ways you can go. The main way I like is you fly to Atlanta from here. That's what, 5 hours, and then from Atlanta to Johannesburg is 17 hours. So that's the longest straight flight I've been on. But yeah, that and just anywhere in Asia, like Indonesia took about a day. Like Dubai took a long time. Anything on the other side of the world, like it's just know that your day is gone. Yeah. The entire day is gone.
Do you take those compression socks? The ones that they sell? You
Nah,
nothing?
I just
Straight?
either I take like some really comfortable shoes or some slides and I'm cool. I'm pretty basic. As long as I have a bottle of water, I'm cool.
That's funny, man. I mean, I think the longest flight I've taken was about 13 hours, but I had been warned, like, there's a possibility that if you stay sitting down too long, your legs could get blood clots.
Yeah.
So I bought compression socks, and they did help me a lot because everybody else was complaining about, a pain in the legs, whatever.
Yeah,
they
and
hadn't
like
stood up.
ankles swollen and all that.
And I know that really happens, but it was
Yeah.
funny because
Where do you even get them from?
You know what? I bought some at Walmart. They were like $5. They were like $5, but they saved my life and my legs.
I need to get some.
So my threshold for pain is not too high. So
Yeah, no, I need to get some because I'm going to Asia at the end of this month, and
and you went with Charlie, right?
Yeah,
Charlie.
It's a Voice Notes tour.
Wow.
It's been incredible. We did the States this whole summer, and just like. I mean, first of all, we were cramming just to learn the new album because everything was so fresh. But then once we played the whole showdown, I'm like, man, if we get away with what we're playing, we're gonna go down in history as greats in pop music. So it's been a fun ride.
What parts of Asia are you visiting on this tour?
Everywhere. We start out in Thailand, do China, we do Japan, we do South Korea, Malaysia, the Philippines.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're going everywhere, man. It's like every other day till we hitting it. So it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I love the Asian culture and just everything about it is so different. Yeah. And so much respect and honor.
Right.
So
yeah,
it'd be cool.
I remember it was sometime last year. I was in the car with Edwin Carranza, a mutual friend of ours. Mm-hmm. And I was showing him this live arrangement to I forget what song. It was a Stevie Wonder song. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you want to know who started that? And I was like,
oh, my
sure.
God.
I'm like, who started? Because I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's talking about what's that band? Dirty Loops, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe Dirty Loops. He's like, no, before Dirty Loops, before any of these new drummers and musicians that are putting arrangements together. It's my buddy Derek. I'm like, Derek. And I'm like, I know Derek, but like, what song? And he showed me. I think it was a Katy Perry arrangement. What was it? Firework?
No. We did two of them. First one was California Girls.
California Girls.
Yeah.
There's like this funky interlude section.
Yeah. Right.
How'd you guys come up with this? Because this is incredible, man. It's very groovy.
Thank you. I mean, for me, I've always been into funk music, and it was just like. It felt like it was already in that vein, even though it's like a super, super pop, 4 on the floor dance record. Like you could hear like I don't know, it's probably like a P bass or something in the background. Somebody's just slapping hard. So I'm like, man.
A P bass?
Yeah. You just know that dry like 60s and 70s sound where it's like, there was no pedals and no effects. You just plugged in dry. Yeah. Not even to an amp, to like a monitor console. And it's just, like it's just like your neighborhood church bass player that just was slapping away. And I'm like, well, if we're going to do this, like we got to do something different because, I mean, at that time, well, even now, like Katy Perry is larger than life. Yeah. And it's like her band was already dope. And it's like, what are we going to do to make it our own? Wow. And it's like, let's just go hard. So, and I was really into like Roger and Zapp. And just started listening to other stuff, and one of our homies played Talkbox, Rob Bonner, and it's just like, man, let's go for it. So we put it in, and it's funny now just thinking about it. Like, I didn't know how to really like use plugins that could change and chop up 2 tracks and make them faster or slower. Like I was using like pitch shift and just basically lining up and slicing up beat for beat. So it was quite the process back then. Like
seems like
it was wild. Like I was using Logic Express and like like it was rough back then. So it's funny times, but yeah, we just really got into it. And then once it was time to shoot the video, that's where it got weird. Is this a Christian podcast?
I mean, you could whatever you want. Bro.
All right, I'll keep it simple.
We'll keep it PG. We'll keep it PG. But
we recorded the video in the middle of the night. Not even a real camera. I think we used iMovie on somebody's laptop. And DJ and I would make this thing called Midnight Juice. And it's literally like Kool-Aid, red Kool-Aid, and any alcohol left from the parties we had. Light, dark, it didn't matter. We poured it all in the pitcher and put a bunch of sugar and stirred it up and left it in the freezer for about an hour. And we drank it all and press record. So what happened? And that's what happened.
Was that like the stipulation before you hit record? Like, is that what you had to do?
Yeah, because we were all shy and like, man, we're about to look like idiots. We had gone to the costume shop right across the street from Berkeley. And like, first of all, we was broke. I don't even know why we had money to spend. I think I spent like $80. I had a fake mustache and this random shirt from like a thrift store and a hat. Like, it wasn't even like a Kango. Like, it was like a fake Kango. And he had like a high top fade. But by the time, like, the third take, it got tired and it started falling down. And there's one time, if you go back and watch the video, like, we were talking. And I tried to spin around, and my mustache was actually falling off. So I had to hurry up and fix it. And it was crazy, man. So that's what every time we shot a video after Bottoms Up, the first one we did, it was Midnight Juice was always involved.
That's funny, man.
It just brought up the energy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And did you guys, when you guys finished recording them, like, did you guys hit up like your homies and tell them, hey man, check out this new?
Bro, we hit up everybody. I hit up Adam Blackstone, Rob Lewis, Nissan Stewart. They had no idea who I was, man. It was probably disrespectful.
In the words of Adam Blackstone, because Alex and I went to this what was it, like a panel discussion?
Yeah,
it was
with
like,
him and Ricky.
With him and Ricky Minor.
Yeah.
It was about a month ago, right? And Adam said that, in his words, he said that Darek would send me these gummy worm arrangements.
Yes.
And I didn't know, like, we thought it was a bad thing, but he actually made it was a good thing. You know, according to him, he's like, and it was like, how many times did you try reaching out to him? Because he said it was like about.
It was months.
Months, right?
And if I had Ricky's email, I probably would have hit him too. Like, it's just, it had to happen.
Is that like perseverance on your end? Like what was that drive?
It wasn't even that. I think it was just because I had met other people and had relationships with people that he worked with on a regular. So it was just like, I would see them come to Boston on a gig, go to the show, talk to them. We all go out to eat and be like, yeah. And I didn't really know much about Adam at the time. Right. Because he had been around, but like I had first seen him on the Dave Chappelle Block Party with the Roots. And then I started seeing him with Jill Scott. And I was like, wow. Next thing you know, he's playing with Jay-Z. I'm like, wow. Next thing you know, he's playing with Janet. I'm like, okay. I don't know who this guy is, but I have to meet him. Yeah. I want to be that guy. So, like, the point finally came. Mike Posner came out, and he was working with him. And they came to Boston, and I met him. And I was just like, gave him the whole spiel, like, yo, my name's Darek Cobbs. Like, I'm a Ranger. Like, can I send you some stuff? Like, I wasn't trying to come off thirsty. Sure. It was just like, I just had to let him know, like, would you check me out? And I'm sure he gets millions of emails from everybody. Yeah. And he was gracious enough to, like, give me a shot. And it was just like, he was just like, yo, is it dope? I'm like, yeah. Like, nobody's going to say no, even if it was whack. Right. So gave me his email and probably a fake phone number. And, I just kept it going from there. And, I mean, everybody around him, I feel like, kept hitting him like, yo, have you heard these kids? And he finally hit me. It was just like, man, like, you're doing some really cool stuff. And I mean, it changed my life because I've learned so much since then, just as an arranger and as a leader,
Yeah.
leading a band and interacting with artists and because it's everybody gets so caught up in the music, but it's still about relationships and
Right.
it's still about people
Yeah.
and lives. Like we have to live at the end of the day. You can't get so consumed in a gig; it'll drive you crazy.
That's good, man.
So
That's great.
yeah,
It
I definitely bugged him though. For sure. Bottom line.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when he was sharing that story. It was pretty funny. Alex and I were just sitting there and we're like, man, I can't. And we were surprised. We were like, because we thought you had already been in the industry for years.
Nah,
and like, you worked with all
bro.
these artists.
I'm new. I'm new. I'm still a student to the game. I'm still learning every day.
Yeah.
Like I'm still correcting different mistakes and seeing what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And every artist is different. Like the way I arrange for Charlie isn't the way I have to arrange for Meghain because they're a different brain.
Exactly.
It's a different gift.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
yeah.
What do you, in your own words, what would you define as like a successful musician nowadays? And like, what would you define? What's the criteria that you would say like that guy? Is it like he works a lot or money? Or what would you say?
First of all, before we go there, Dirty Loops did start this before us, but it was
Okay, so you're correcting it.
no they. It's weird because I can't necessarily call it a live arrangement. It was a full on remix, like, and they were doing it on MySpace, like a MySpace music page. First heard them. They did Britney Spears Circus,
Right.
and it was completely flipped. They didn't use any stems. They changed everything. And that I don't know the singer's name, but he to me he sounds like the white Stevie Wonder. Like, it's scary.
His range is crazy, man.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. The whole band is dope. But I would say they were the first ones to start to flip it. But my idea was, which is crazy because I didn't come up with the live arrangements. It wasn't my idea.
Okay.
Like DJ Darren Javon was like, I'm gonna start doing drum covers of different popular songs like once a week, like, and maybe add a couple hits at the end and see what happens. That's all it was. It was just gonna be a drum cover, and then him and Rod and Steve like came back with Bottoms Up, and I heard it and it was just like, yo. Y'all on to something.
Yeah.
Like I just started seeing things.
Yeah.
Like I just closed my eyes. Was like, this is about to go down.
Yeah.
So I was just like, add this, change this. I took over, which doesn't make any sense. But I had so many ideas.
Yeah.
It was just like, man, this is crazy. And when we first put it up on YouTube, they actually blocked it. They took it down. They took it down.
Copyright, I'm assuming?
Copyright. And it was just like, we're not making any money off of this. We don't want anything. It's purely a cover. It's just, we just want people to hear it and see us. Because we even did an arrangement before that, but it was just a slide. It was like a teaser, and it wasn't video. It was just like slideshows of pictures of everybody
Right.
in the video, in the music. So the next time it was just like, yo, we have to show ourselves performing. Even if we're faking, like just the personality,
Yeah.
just the presence, it makes a difference.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that nobody was doing at the time.
Got
And
it.
even though we only had a laptop camera and iMovie, and even the warning sign at the beginning, like I was just like, when we put this out, people are gonna think that we're overplaying, we're busy, and that we're extremely unprofessional. So like, let's give a disclaimer, like how on like the show Ridiculousness or something, like don't try this at home. I wrote out something, and then DJ, he recorded it with his own voice, and I was just like, why don't you just pitch it down so they don't know who it is? And then that's what it came. We just started every show with that, every arrangement with that. But back to what you were saying, success it depends on the person. Some people don't do it for the money. Some people do it for the love of the music. Some people do it because that's all they know and they're not good at anything else. That is their gift.
Yeah.
Some people do it for the money, and then once they get the money, then they do it for free. I would love to do that. That's my goal of success. But even then, it's some people that's cool with just playing at your local bar or lounge,
Right.
and that's good enough for them just to make people happy and to leave from their jobs and go relax and eat and celebrate with the fans and dance a little bit. Like sometimes that's enough. Sometimes being successful is playing at the biggest church in town. Like it could be playing the biggest pop gig or country gig or playing with the biggest rapper. I think it depends. I can't pinpoint one thing. It depends on the person, man. If it's for me, it's like if you're doing it because you love it and it doesn't feel like a job, and you're able to provide for yourself or provide for your family, that's enough for me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Cool. When you think about the word value as a musician, how important is that to you?
it's everything. It's everything. Value your musicianship. Value having them as in like the artist and the management and
Yeah.
everything, everybody that makes the show work and happen is it goes both ways. But to value your musicianship and to respect yourself as a person is that's everything, because if you don't have that value and you don't value yourself, you will get ran over. And it's once they got you like that, then you're at the mercy of whatever they want, because it's just like it makes you feel like if I do stand up for myself, they're just gonna get somebody else.
Yeah, yeah,
And maybe they will.
Right.
But that's the chance you take.
yeah.
And if you really have a gift and you are truly a likable person, like you will find something else.
Yeah.
So you just can't be afraid, but you can't just sit back and take it.
Right.
So, but you have to pick and choose your battles.
True.
So value that's where you start.
So in your case, being that you work for so many artists, nowadays, what are the conditions in which you say yes to a gig, and sometimes when you have to say no, or not that you want to say no, but you just have to say no.
Um, I try to say yes to everything. Because you just never know what comes from it. You never know who you're gonna meet. You never know how it's gonna inspire you. For me, I've been blessed that I've been put in situations where all of the artists that I've actually played for are excellent songwriters. Like Miguel is a well-renowned songwriter. Neo's a crazy songwriter. Charlie's a crazy songwriter. Meghain, they all have number one hit singles, and it's like, and they're all still young, and just to be around that energy and to be around that, like you first hear a song before it comes out, and you're like, wow, what made you think of that? And half of the time they're just writing about their life, man. Like just to be around that, and I think just being in that mix, you automatically soak up that genius.
Yeah.
Like some of the biggest producers and MDs were backing up somebody else. Some of the biggest stars used to sing backgrounds for another star. So it's just like it's levels, and you see what it takes from that star, and you take what helped them and what hurt them, and you use it in your own story. So I think that's key.
Um, Most memorable moment in your career so far, and least memorable.
Uh, I wouldn't say most memorable and least memorable. I'll say most memorable and most embarrassing.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Oh man, this is bad. I hope I don't get in trouble. Um, I don't know, man. Like by working with Adam, just the BB camp in general, I've been able to do a lot of arrangements and program things with them and collaborate with them with artists that people would never, either they would know, but they'll never see me because I wasn't there. And for that, I think the craziest one for me is between like Justin Timberlake doing the Super Bowl and even before that when he got the Vanguard Award for the MTV VMAs when NSYNC came back. That I think that was the biggest thing and I wasn't even on the stage, bro. I was at home. I was at the house.
Playing 2K? Yeah.
Nah, not even back. I don't even know if I had we was probably on an Xbox 360 back then. So yeah, like 2K13. I don't even know who I was using then, like T-Mac or something. But yeah, like for me growing up, like I mean, moved to like the suburbs in the 4th grade, and school was predominantly white. Like wasn't on some racial stuff. It was just like that's just who lived around there.
Right.
I can probably count on one hand how many black people I knew in that school, and we were all friends because we just had to be. But everybody listened to pop music. Like I mean, when I was first in like my original school, we was listening to Blackstreet, and Maya, and Drew Hill,
Yeah.
and Monica and Brandy. The Boy's Mind was crazy. All the stuff that was just like it was R&B and hip hop. Like Juvenile was real big back then. Lil Wayne, Master P, all that mystical. We were listening to that. So when I moved to this school, then I started hearing about it. I was like, yo, who is Britney Spears? Like, who is Christina Aguilera? You see, I would know kids with like life-size Britney Spears posters hanging up on their wall. Like, oh my gosh, she's so hot. And I'm like, whatever. But then it was just like, I started growing up. I'm like, man, she is kind of hot though. Like, and this is like 10-year-old 5th grade Derek talking. It's ridiculous. But then like when I actually saw them perform live on the VMAs and I don't even know what else was out back then. They had like remember MTV Spring Bling?
Yeah.
All that stuff. They had that and like Aaliyah playing live, and they had all these bands playing live, and it was just like the tracks were already hits, like undeniable hits, but then you hear a band like throwing extra sauce on it, and I'm like, man, this sounds crazy. Like, so then like boy bands were big, and I was just like, that was a dream gig. Britney Spears and like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, those were dream gigs for me because they always looked like on stage they were having so much fun.
You're right.
And it was so many people in the crowd just going crazy.
Yeah, the energy, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing will beat like Michael Jackson, Dangerous Tour, and people fainting on the first song. If I fainted in the first song in a stadium and I got kicked out and the paramedics took me out and I missed the rest of the concert, I'm gonna be pissed. I'd be so mad. But it was just like, it wasn't that same type of energy, but it was close. Yeah. It was like, okay, when I grow up, I want to do that. So when NSYNC came back out and Adam was like, yo, we got to do a medley, like, I was so prepared. Yeah. Just watching all the DVD, well, not even VHS back then. It was just like, man, I'm ready. I'm so ready. I think that was one of the most fun moments.
You said least favorite / most embarrassing. So,
most embarrassing. Does it have to be like when I was actually on a gig, or like is this just in life as a musician?
Well, let's just do both. One that you were on a gig, on a tour, wherever you were at, and then one,
That's tough, man. I think the worst was one time I was playing at a church, and keyboard stand collapsed.
While you were playing?
While I'm playing. Like it just, I think it collapsed twice. Like one time it fell in my lap, and another time I was standing up and it just hit the ground.
Both in the same?
Yeah, it was, that stand just had to go, and I didn't have time. There was still more worship to do. So between that and I think one time I was playing, like, I wasn't even playing drums or keys. There was another drummer at the church. I was playing percussion or something.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's just what you do. If there's multiple, you got to make do. Like, I'm gonna hit something up here. We had risers at the church, and like I was sitting in a chair playing some congas or something, and I didn't see the edge, and then like something happened where I scooted back, and I fell off the riser backwards, and all you could see was like my feet just dangling. So embarrassing, man. So embarrassing.
Alex is over there. Guy, man.
I'm sorry, bro. If I had some tissue, I'll give it to you right now. But these are real things that happen in Kalamazoo, Michigan. That's just what happens. You live and you learn. That's why I stand up on every gig now. I'm not gonna fall off the rising.
What about when it's an acoustic set or something like that? You don't
Stand
still,
up,
you
bro.
still say-
Unless you playing like a grand piano or a Rhodes,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
real suitcase Rhodes,
Mhm.
I'm standing up. It's like, what fun is it to sit down? Unless you playing organ, you gotta show energy.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. You can sit down your whole life. Stand up for 90 minutes. Even professionally, it's something embarrassing.
Yeah, it could be something recent with Charlie or with Megan.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
One time with Charlie. Goodness gracious. We were doing a show, and I do a lot of like patch changes.
Okay.
And there was a time, in the middle of the verse, I have this sound. It has some hits, and then before the bridge, he does a piano solo after the bridge, and I have to switch to Rhodes.
Is this for boy?
No.
Okay.
Suffer.
Okay.
And one time, actually, this has happened more than once. Like, I'll forget to switch from the orchestra hits, and I think I'm on Rhodes, and it's just like, it's like a 6/8 like kind of bluesy ballad at first, and right there we break it all the way. We get sexy with it, man. And it was just like, you try to break it down, it's just like, BAM! It's like, wow. Like, have you ever heard orchestra hits with 8 fingers at the same time? Yeah, so it just smacks, bro. And it was bad because it's just like, you can't even adjust and save it. I just hit it, and I just put my hands to my side, and I just gather my thoughts. And I just had to gather. I took a couple bars off, man. Just had to get right. So
Did you have a talkback mic also?
Absolutely. Ben was cracking up. I couldn't believe it. It's just like, how could you? You've practiced all of these years just to play orchestra hits and a chord on a ballad.
That's great, man.
Yeah. I think that's probably the most embarrassing thing. I'm sure there's something worse than that. It'll come to me.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Let's switch a little bit.
Yeah.
School system today. You went to school for music, right?
Mhm.
To Berkeley.
Yeah.
What would you say are some things that are not taught in the music school today that should be taught?
Hi Berkeley. Everything, honestly. They teach you the fundamentals, just of theory and ear training, and I mean, how to chart things out and jazz standards and different scales and modes and tensions, and even they'll teach you about synthesis and how to sound design and all of that, and you can learn about microphones and different consoles and all that. But as far as being like a touring musician, there is no. I can't say there isn't a curriculum for that, but I haven't seen it. When I got out here, even when I first started working like with BB, I was clueless, man. I didn't know how to reply all on an email. I didn't know how to write an invoice.
Wow.
I didn't know what respectable touring salary rates were per diem. I barely knew about per diem. I didn't know about like saving money. I didn't know about cancellation fees. I didn't know about travel notices with your bank. You go overseas, you try to swipe your card, they shut you down.
Decline you.
They decline you.
Yep.
You what if you with like a little something? You like, yo, let me buy you a drink or get you a meal, and you like decline. And you look really bad. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about like international data on a phone. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Just even just proper etiquette and just learning different. I mean, in school, probably the longest we rehearse is maybe 2 hours or 4 hours. We rehearse for artists now. It's an 8 hour day, at least. Um, and it's like you gotta know different people's learning curves and when to give them breaks. And like if you it's the end of the day and people are burnt out, you can't just keep hashing them. Like everybody go home, clear your minds, get some rest. We'll come back fresh tomorrow and keep working. Um, just stuff like that. It's just or just proper backline and how to use certain keyboards, different equipment, and using in-ear monitors or how to set up a playback rig or a session and adding click and adding slates. We didn't learn that in school. Like we just either had to figure it out for ourselves or talk to different like alumni that is working and ask them questions. And I had to learn fast when I got out. So I would say that, and I'm sure it's better now. I haven't been back in a while. But, and I mean, they do that, and MI, I'm sure, has better programs with that as well because they're in the mix. But I had no idea, man. It was like we was going to school, and here, get this lead sheet, let's play some standards. It's like, all right, cool. Like, but I want to play, I want to play for Lady Gaga. Something like that. So it's, I don't know, man. It was crazy. It was crazy.
What about reading music for what you do, doing pop, and how important is reading music nowadays? You still think it's as important as it once was? Because you know when you're doing these 8 hour rehearsals, do you send your musicians a chart, or you send here's the MP3, have it down by tomorrow?
It depends on what we're doing. If it's just like a mainstream artist, like you probably don't need it, or if you have to memorize a lot of things in a short amount of time, you could try it out yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm using an iPad now, so I just if I need to, I put the set list in there, or if I can make a little quick chart, if I just need it. But if you running it over and over, it's gonna be in your hands.
Embedded.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it is very important still just to know the theory of just how to break down things and explain it and talk it to other things.
Exactly.
And I mean, you'd be surprised. Some of these artists do know the theory and or something about it. So you just at least need to be knowledgeable of it because it is a language.
Right.
And even then, there's certain like gigs and opportunities that you can miss out on, like the certain recording sessions. There's award shows, whereas you reading 40 to 60 charts with no rehearsal. So it's like they might send you all the MP3s the night before, but how you gonna remember 60 songs? Like you just can't. So if the people that can just open the page up and just play it perfectly, they're making money, and they will always be called. So it's good to know you're not gonna always use it, but like, and I can read, but I'm not the greatest reader.
Yeah.
But like we get it done, and it's you just never know.
That's good.
There is, you can never have enough of it.
That's good. So, going back to curriculum, if you could, you would implement in Berkeley or depending what school, music schools are out there, you would implement a life class for musicians.
Yes.
Generally, and talk about all these things.
Yes, you have to, because it's just, I think when I first moved to LA, there were so many people here that went to Berkeley, and I didn't even know they went because they just kept it on the hush because it was almost like they were like afraid and ashamed. Like I'm proud I went there. Like I worked hard to get there, and I met some of the most incredible minds ever going to that school. But it's like they were known here as know-it-alls. Like they thought they knew everything because they went to this school, and the school was made to be the most prestigious contemporary college in the world. And it's just like, it might be, but can you play the same groove for 5 minutes? Like, can you switch from a super verbian delay on a guitar and then go straight into a lead line, the next measure, and then go back to your pocket?
Yeah.
Like, they don't teach you that. Like, we too busy trying to play giant steps. So it was things like that. I would definitely include that, but even then, I would just lower the tuition. Like, it's crazy, man, because nothing in this industry is promised. You could be hot one day and be the next day. It only takes one situation, and you just hitting people up. Like, man, like, if you hear of anything, let me know. Like, every gig you get is a blessing because somebody else can have it and somebody else does want it. So it's like you can't take it for granted. Like, you have to give it your all every time and just be a good person. And it's like, I think all college, just the education, higher education outside of high school is in a ridiculous place right now because it's like we spend all this money on tuition just trying to be qualified. And then once you get qualified, you think you're qualified, then they ask you for this job requires 5 to 10 years job experience. It's like, I just got out of college. What do you want me to do? I know I can do the job, but like, give me a shot. And it's like, then you end up $200,000 in debt. 4 years. You paying that off. You can't buy a house. You can barely buy a car. Your credit is crazy. Like, it's like everybody in our age gap and even younger are just at a crazy disadvantage right now where our parents didn't have to go through that. Right. So it's like, and the cost of living and the housing market is so much higher now. Like, we're already behind. So that's why people are getting into startups and investing and, I don't know, cryptocurrencies and everything, man. You have to find that side hustle because that's the only way to get up. Like, you just can't depend on this. Music industry is forever changing every day. Every day.
How about keeping yourself from getting burnt out? You know, I hear that a lot, mostly amongst musicians in church, you know, that play at churches, you know, on a weekly basis. And friends of mine that will just kind of hit me up and tell me, hey, man, like, kind of done with church right now. For you, on your end, how do you keep from getting to that point doing music and working? Because I'm assuming that, you know, when you work with these artists, it's still stressful, you know. I mean, having all this music to remember, you know, you're in this venue here. Like, how do you keep yourself from?
We play music. There's people working at McDonald's. There's people working at Target, Home Depot, Office Depot. There's people mowing lawns. And, like, you get to play at church. You make hundreds of dollars. Sometimes you make thousands of dollars, depending on the church. Like, I think sometimes you have to take a step back and just thank God for what you have. Because you get to do something that you love. And, I mean, we all get burnt out. The travel is hard. Church is hard. Dealing with pastors or the deacon board or just people. Church can make you tired. Even without playing at church, just being a member. Like, it's just...
just sitting in the pew.
Man, just the whole aspect of church can really wear you out. And it's like, you gotta take it for what it is and take it with a grain of salt and still know God for yourself and know... I mean, I know some people that didn't grow up in church and then they play in church now, so they have a different appreciation for it. But for me, church has been... That was my life. Like, growing up, we went to church 3 times a week. And I was playing. I mean, I was getting paid, but it was like, I love to be there. I love to minister. I love to make people... I love to save souls through my music. And even now that I haven't really been in gospel or in church as a musician, like, I still carry that same mindset. Like, every night, let's inspire somebody. Let's change somebody's life. Let's make somebody want to play or want to sing. Let's inspire somebody to keep them from committing suicide. Like, it's a whole different meaning. Like, I've heard of people I've looked up to, like, just them responding to some of their fans. They saved somebody, like, they thought they were going to kill themselves. Like, he was getting ready to kill themselves, but you responded to me. Like, you just saved a life. You just saved a soul. So it's like, no matter what you're going through, like, somebody's having it way worse.
Yeah.
And I completely understand, man. It's the church musician, the church singer, the praise leader, the choir member, the minister of music, like whoever, they're all usually really severely underappreciated. And people count on them being there every week, whether you feel great or whether you feel horrible. They still count on you to lead worship and to do your best and kill it. And you just have to take a step back. You have to have friends. You have to hang out, like find a hobby, like sit back. For me, like when I'm at home, I'm at home. I go to the gym, I hang out with y'all.
I was gonna ask you, what are you doing in your time off?
Man, I go to the gym, I play 2K. I listen to something that I probably can't even play, like just something else, and just appreciate music for what it is, and just go and listen to the things that I grew up listening to that made me fall in love with music in the first place.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because you can really get consumed in it, and just living a normal life, being just a regular person, going bowling, watching basketball, football, just going to see. I mean, I haven't had a vacation in a while, but just going to sleep, having a regular sleeping pattern, like talking to family, like things like that just keep you grounded, and just to make it. I think for me, it's just like my friends that I grew up with and my family, like just hit me up and like, yo, we're so proud of you. Like it goes a really long way. Yeah. Goes a really long way because people from Kalamazoo don't normally do this. Like it's a smaller town, and you do what you have to do to provide. So every day, it's like I could still be there, and you could still have a good life there. If I had it my way now, I could own a couple houses in Kalamazoo. But you just have to be grateful.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. You would you say that you make yourself available? Like I'm sure that after a show with Charlie, there are maybe some young teenagers that are on the side or whatever that want to meet the musicians. You take the time to talk to them and share.
Take pictures. I'm not anybody, man. Like there's levels. Like I don't have paparazzi following me. Like I'm not getting mobbed by a bunch of teenagers. It's somebody, they appreciate what I did on stage, because usually they're not paying attention to me anyway. So it's like, if they appreciate it, cool, let's take a picture. Like let's talk. I'll follow you on social media. I'm not too big for the moment, because I want them to realize that they can do this. Like
that's cool.
Like they can be bigger than me. Like I can be bigger than me. I'm still trying to strive for greatness. So you just have to be cool, because it's just like those teenagers and probably their parents who bought the ticket are the reason we have jobs. So it's like you can't just brush them off. Like you have to get back. So,
that's good, man. What do you tell the aspiring musician out there? Someone trying to get on your level, someone trying to work with different artists, music directing. What do you tell them? What should they focus on?
Be prepared for anything. You can't expect to get the opportunity of your dreams and you haven't proven yourself. There's so many people calling, and there's so many people trying to will and deal to get that same spot. And there's probably people that you look up to that want that exact same spot. Yeah. And it could take one phone call and they'll get it, because they're known and they're proven. Like you just, like, if I want to gig on drums and I want to do this gig, but it's like, oh, Tony Royster's available, Aaron Spears is available, Chris Coleman is available. Like, shoot, I would call Aaron Spears just to watch.
Yeah, Brian Fraser.
Yeah, Brian Fraser, Mike Reed, like all those guys. And it's like, for me, it's even an honor to know them. And I've been able to work with them. It's just like, man, I watched y'all Modern Drummer Festival. Like Tony was, what was he, 10 or 12? He was 12. Craziest drum solo I've ever heard. And it's like, that's my friend. And it's like, that's the thing of being in LA. You never know who you're going to meet. And everybody's so cool. So it's like, why I can't be stuck up. Look at this dude. He's a living prodigy. Like, you have to be cool. You have to be ready for the moment. You have to know everything that comes with that spot. Like, if you're a bass player, you know, you have to know how to play bass. You have to. It would be great if you knew how to play upright bass, and you need to know how to play synth bass. You might need to know how to play little keys. Like, there's guitar players that play keys. You might need to know how to sing. Like, you just never know. Or maybe you need to run playback or edit tracks or edit stems, and like, you have to make yourself valuable because there's so many people that want your spot and that are as good as you or better. Or they could be worse, but they have the connection. So it's just like that. And I would say the personal aspect, like just being cool and just being kind to everybody. Like, you don't have to be in their face. You're not going to be best friends with everybody you work with, but just treat them with respect. Because, I mean, the longest show that somebody's going to do is 2 to 3 hours. That still leaves 21 to 22 other hours in the day. And it's like, you have to live with them. You on a bus. You on a plane. Like, you have to see these people every day, and you don't want to be on their bad side because they're just going to call it homie. So it's like, I feel like that is more important than the playing. Almost.
Oh,
You still need to be good. You should be good. You should want to be good. And just don't be lazy and don't get complacent. Like, still try to come on time. Learn the music before you get there. Know the sounds that you need to get. If you're a drummer and there's some electronics or you're using triggers, like, hit up the engineer, hit up the MD, and be like, hey, man, I hear these sounds in the song. Can you send me the sounds so I can put them in my pad? And know your equipment. Like, I remember one time we did, season 2 of Verses and Flow with Adam. One of my first times playing with him, actually with him on the gig. It's like, all right, I gotta come with it. He hit me like, send me your backline. The Roland Jupiter 80 had just come out, and I looked at it like, man, I really want to play that keyboard. I put it on my writer. Didn't know anything about the keyboard. It just has so many lights and buttons. I'm like,
the name sounded dope.
I'm like, I'm gonna look like I'm the man, cause ain't nobody at the crib got this keyboard. And it's like, come to find out, like, we're doing some specials in the song. He's like, man, can you give me like a brass sound or a synth sound? And I'm like, give me a second. And I'm just scrolling and touching the screen. So embarrassing, man. And from that day on, like, I own a Jupiter now, and I know every sound in that keyboard. But I probably should have just played a motif at the time because that's what I knew, or Nord. And it was funny because it's just like, I've never done that again. Like, you can't. Every piece of equipment on your rig is important, and you can't afford to have something up there just to have it up there, like, unless you just have unlimited backline. But these things cost money, so it's like you need it. You need it. Like, and I had 4 keyboards up there, but it was like I was only using 2. So yeah.
Did he tell you anything afterward, or like?
It's fun. We talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
I
really?
was just like, yo, you remember when we did that gig and I had a Jupiter up there and I didn't know what I was clueless. Like, yeah, it was funny. He was like, but I know it now. So every rig I use. So it's just know your instrument. Like, it's just, you never know what the music director or even the artist is gonna call out. Like, sometimes they just might be like, I just need distortion right here. You gotta be ready to click a pedal and go. Like, we can't. You never want to be the weak link in the band, because it's just not a good feeling.
I forget who told me this, but someone said, never let your playing be the problem. You know, I think that's one word of advice that I hold true to heart. You know, and I think I apply on any gig, you know, any opportunity. I think that's hopefully. I think all of us, you know, that trying to do that, you know,
Yeah.
hold that to heart, and
because it's like there's probably a few people out there with attitude problems, but they're so good on their instrument. It's like, I have to call that person. Like, You just have to.
So I was gonna ask you that. How do you deal with tough personalities like that? What do you do if you're MDing the gig and this guy, he's the one for that gig, but
It's your job. You just gotta learn them. You gotta get to know them, and you gotta know which buttons to press. It's like a basketball coach, and their star player has anger issues. It's like, okay, how do you channel this energy into dropping 40 tonight? Like, that's just what it
like
takes.
Phil with Kobe a little bit.
Yeah,
kind of that
you
vibe.
gotta know what makes them tick, because obviously there's a gift inside of them, and maybe even your spirit will get them out of that shell and make them a better person. You never know, but it's just like everybody's different, and everybody's come from different backgrounds, and you never know what they've gone through to make them that way. Like there could be anxiety problems, or anger problems, or just mental health, and it's like, man, they might need help. You might be that person to help them, but it's like you can't just throw them away. Like, if they get fired by the management of the artist, that's on them. But while they're there, as a music director, it's your job to make everything mesh and be cohesive. So I've been very fortunate to not have to deal with that, because everybody I play with is just great guys. Like, I've been blessed to not have those problems.
Do you still get any mentorship from anybody nowadays? I mean, I know Adam would be one of those people.
Yeah, Adam, Omar Edwards, Daniel Jones. Uh, I mean, I feel like anybody. You just ask questions, man. People are open. Like, it never hurts to ask. And once they see that you cool and they know that you really just want to learn, like, I mean, even somebody who's never done a gig before, I can learn something from them. And there's no hate behind it. I'm not gonna act like I just magically figured out how to do it, or I made up something new. It's like, no, that one kid playing in Guitar Center, playing really loud on a Casio, played something dope, and I'm taking it. And it's you always have to be a student to the game, because it's just that's how other people got there. You have to see what works. And I've always heard things like, this one drummer said, like, play what your heroes play. Like, I play this because so-and-so played it. Like, now I use Roland SH-101 because Valdez Brantley used one on the Usher Truth Tour. I was like, man, whenever I get enough money, I'm buying that thing, because it just looks so cool, and it sounds ridiculous. So you just never know, man. Just do what feels right, and if it works with that situation, run with it, enjoy it.
Well, Derek, do you have any last words or anything else you want to say concerning what we've talked about tonight? No questions, just whatever you free roam, man. 'Cause we've talked about a lot. We've talked about a lot so far. So
I would just say, I mean, to anybody, including myself, who just wants to do this and maintain it and do it, and I'm for sure not where I want to be yet. I'm not close. So just keep working, and be a student to the game. Like, study. Like, it doesn't even have to be a scholastic thing. Like, study who came before you. Study what's hot right now. Figure out what those sounds are. Figure out what people are doing, and make it your own. Just be different and make yourself valuable. Make your position needed, that you can, make yourself irreplaceable. That's the real thing. Those are the people who have the true job security. Because anybody can play. Everybody got chops. Everybody has crazy chords and lines, and it's like you see a lot of people on IG, and they're just ripping for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and then you play with them on a gig, and it's like, what happened to that guy on the ground? So it's just like, don't fall for the flashiness. Like, be ready for the long haul, and don't get complacent. You may get one big gig, and it's like, save your money, because it only takes for one person to get sick, somebody gets pregnant, it's a death in the family, is getting married, anything. And it's like the gig is gone. And they're not going to just keep paying you if you're not working. So save your money for a rainy day, invest it. When I first got on a gig, first started playing with Pharrell Williams, I think I bought a pair of shoes with every check. A pair of sneakers.
How much were the shoes?
200 and up. I always stayed between like 200 and 350.
And you were getting paid weekly, right?
Yeah, weekly.
Okay.
I bought a pair of Jordans or Nikes every week for about a year and a half. Yeah, it's bad. I give away shoes. That's like my ministry now. I bless people. My friends be like, yo, man, you wear a 10 and a half, 11. Take these shoes, bro.
Oh, man, I'm a 9.5, man.
Hey, man, I'm sorry, man. Just triple up on your socks, and I have a pair for you. Yeah. So it's just bad. It's funny, man. I blame Adam and Omar for that, too. They would come in rehearsal, craziest retro shoes on. I'm like, man, those is cool. I mean, me growing up, you got a pair for your birthday? No, not even. You got a pair back to school, and you got a pair for Christmas. That's it. And they better be under $100. So I would see all these Jordans and stuff and be like, man, like when I get enough money, I'm gonna buy those. And that's what I did. And it's like now I look at it and it's like, man, how much more money could I have? I could have a house right now if I didn't buy all those shoes. It's like, no, I'm just wearing some regular Adidas. I'll run in these at 24-hour fitness. And it's just, you just never, but I was young. Yeah. I was 23. And it's now I know, and I mean, thank God I still saved. But it's just like people, sometimes you play on the biggest gig of your life, and you don't know that might be as big as it gets. You could still be a successful musician and still be working and still be known and very respected, but you may not make that much again. Yeah. And you just have to be prepared for that, and life goes on. Like, get a 401k or get
retirement plan.
Yeah, retirement plan.
Especially for musicians, man.
Get health insurance, vision, dental, join a union, anything, man, like treasury bonds, like Roth IRA, all that stuff, man. You have to do something because it's just in order for us to make money, we have to be available.
Right.
You have to be. You can't just be playing basketball all the time and you rupture your Achilles. What are you gonna do now? You play drums. So it's like you out of the game unless you just finesse it. Yeah. And like we gotta prepare for that stuff. You can buy insurance on your hands, on your feet. Like there's different things that you can do just to keep the ball rolling. And we have to prepare for that because it's like if you want a family, you want kids, they're going to have to pay for college. And it's going to be more than what you paid for college. Yeah. So we just have to prepare. And I think it's just you can't settle and just be hyped to be in that moment. You have to always plan for the future.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say that's the most important thing with anything you do because these opportunities are a blessing. Yeah. So.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, Darek, thanks again, man. I appreciate your time coming out and just doing this. I'm sure anybody who's gonna listen or watch this is gonna learn a lot today. I appreciate your time. Thanks, Alex, and handling the cameras back there.
Thank you, man.
This is episode 3 of Sir Kevin Says, and stay tuned for the next one.
Right.
Thanks for checking out episode 3 of Sir Kevin Says. If you enjoyed what you heard today, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. If you don't, you'll never know when the next one's up. So go ahead and do that now, and we will see you guys very soon.